It's Memorial Day weekend, summertime is here, and it's the official start to houseboating season. We're really excited to kick off this summer and bring you our first series on our favorite thing to do, which is houseboat camping. So we've been busy planning for some epic adventures this summer, and we're really excited to bring you some fun and informative videos in the coming weeks. We want to make sure that when you go houseboat camping, you can get the most out of it and have the best time with your friends and family. No matter how seasoned to houseboating you are, or maybe you're new to houseboating, or even planning on renting a houseboat with your friends, in this series, we're going to share with you 8 tips that you need to do to make sure that you have an epic, fun, and safe time with everyone that you bring on board. So come along with me, we're going to walk around the boat, and I'm going to share some great information with you guys. Like I said, we're going to be walking around the boat for a little bit, so we're going to head to Dory's favorite place, which is the top deck, to go through the
There's a chair there.
There's a chair here. Make sure that makes a blooper reel. We're going to head up to the top deck, Dory's favorite spot, and go through our first step in our epic houseboating camping series.
Look ahead, the sea is calm, and I know we've been through a lot, but just wait. For better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we...
So the first step that you want to make sure that you do might sound a little bit obvious, but you've got to check the weather. Nothing's more frustrating than having the car packed or your boat packed, your friends are coming up, you've been spending days or weeks planning about this, you got your swimsuit on, your flippy floppies, your suntan lotion, and you look at the weather forecast and it's nothing but rain, wind, and lightning. Sorry bro, you're not leaving the dock. I mean, you can, but it's probably not going to be the best time ever. So you want to make sure that you're checking the weather. If you plan on leaving the dock when it's windy, raining, and lightning, that's going to make for a miserable time because the captain's going to be miserable, which in turn is going to make sure or almost guarantee that the guests are having zero fun. We can't control the weather, but if you are planning your houseboating camping adventure in advance, make sure to check the weather and have a backup plan. If maybe you're doing this for your first time and you're renting a houseboat, do yourself a really big favor and look at some of the seasons where thunderstorms and inclement weather have a little less likely chance of happening. You might have to pay a bit of a premium to do this if you're renting a houseboat, but oftentimes you can't put a price on a really good experience, so spend those extra dollars and make sure that you can make the most out of your houseboat camping experience. So what's that? You're not a planner, you like to shoot from the hip and do things last minute? I'm right there with you. But it's always helpful to have a good app on hand, like the Weather Channel or the Windy app, so that you can see if there's any inclement weather coming. That way you can plan to come back to the dock early, or maybe extend your vacation and stay out just a little bit longer. Whether you're a planner or not planner, there's definitely something that can help you check the weather and make the most out of your experience. If you guys are using a weather app that you like, aside from weather.com, leave it in the comment section below. We're always looking for something that's a little bit more accurate that we can rely on when we're coming out houseboat camping. And if we like it, we want to make sure that we can recommend it to all of our viewers out there. So we've checked the weather. Come over here with me. We're going to show you step 2 to make sure that you have an awesome houseboat camping experience. Hi, how are you?
Great.
My name's Trey. I'm the VP of IT of Deep Houseboat Life. How you doing?
Doing great.
The second step to really make sure that you have an epic houseboat camping experience is to plan out what beach or island you'd like to go to ahead of time. One of our preferences is, if we can, is to find an island so that Claire and Dory can walk around and we don't have to worry about them wandering off onto someone else's property without us knowing. Not that we'd let Claire get that far out of our sight, but Dory's been known to chase a few squirrels every now and then. It's always good to do this, again, to figure out which beach or island you want to go to. Figure that out just like you checked the weather before you left the dock. Try and figure that out before you left the dock. And one pro tip is pick 2 or 3 spots that you'd like to go to, just in case one of them isn't available, or when you show up to the beach or island, you don't like the way it looks, you have some ideas of where you want to go. In our last houseboat camping experience, we planned out 3 different islands that we wanted to go to. So not surprisingly, it was a popular sunny day, and we ended up at our 3rd one. It's probably going to make the top list because we hadn't been there before, but it was a great experience, and it made for a fun time out on the water, not having to panic at the last minute, figuring out what beach we wanted to go to for our houseboat camping experience. Any navigable body of water is going to have a map that you could look at to potentially find some really good beaches and islands. You also want to check out areas that might be shallow or hazards that you definitely don't want to navigate near. Like we said with the weather, we don't have a consistent app that we're always using. So if you're using a consistent app to find beaches and islands, again, please share that in the comment section below. We'd love to check it out, and if we like it, share that with our viewers so that they can have an awesome experience when they're out on the water.
Whatever it was that held me back, I'm sure it wasn't true. Holding on too long on unresolved questions holds you down.
So we're back here at the boat for our 3rd recommendation to make sure that you have an epic houseboat camping experience, and that's to make sure that your off-grid power source is working properly and ready to go. Whether you're using batteries, solar charger to power those batteries, or a generator like we have here. You could go without a power source, but if it's really, really hot or really, really cold, it could make it almost intolerable. So make sure that you have a working and reliable power source before you leave the dock for your houseboat adventure. On our boat, we have a gas-powered generator, and before we leave the dock, we check the weather, we figure out what beach we're going to go to, and we make sure that we have enough fuel on board for the amount of time that we're going to be away from the dock, plus a little bit extra in case we have to extend it. It's always really nice in case a storm comes by and we have to leave later in the afternoon that the fuel tanks aren't going to run out of gas. Also, if you're going to run a generator, what we do is that we run it intermittently throughout the day. If we're swimming off the back or exploring off the boat, there's no need to run the generator and burn that gas when we're not on board, and we save that for the times that we are on board in the morning and in the evenings. If you're going to run a generator, pro tip is to make sure that you have carbon monoxide detectors in every room. You don't want to get stung by the silent killer, and every year, unfortunately, people pass away from this when fumes and exhaust from the gas-powered generator get into the boat. People don't know about it and they slowly pass away. It's incredibly unfortunate, and we don't want that to happen to you or any of your families. One thing that we're thinking about doing is adding some lithium-ion batteries to our houseboat so that we can run our generator even more intermittently. So stick around. In a couple weeks, we're going to have some more information about this, and I think we're going to be really excited to share it with you. So for our 4th one, let's step over here because it's a necessity of life, and it's a necessity of making sure that you have a great houseboat camping experience. Like I said earlier, it's summertime, Memorial Day weekend. It's hot, and selfishly, I wanted to get in the water to cool off for a little bit. And I also said it's a necessity of life. So here we are, step 4, make sure that your water tanks are topped off before you leave the dock. Our houseboat has the ability to hold 320 gallons of fresh water. So we always make sure that our water tanks are topped off before we leave the dock so that we can use the water for cooking, taking a shower, or drinking when we need to. I would also recommend that you make sure that the houseboat that you're on, whether it's your houseboat or the one that you're renting, is topped off with water as well. You could choose to drink something else, you could choose not to shower, and you could choose to have a little more stress by not cooking with water, but save yourself the stinking stress and make sure that the water tanks are topped off. And you're always going to make sure that you're taking your lines or ropes off your boat when you're leaving. Make sure that you always disconnect your water as well. We have a quick disconnect here, which makes for quick, easy connecting and disconnecting, and we're able to quickly get out when we want to. On the last tip, we talked about disconnecting your water hose. So on the 5th one, we want to talk about connecting your lines to the shore when you find the beach or island that you planned on visiting and you finally arrive. One of the great things about this community is tips that we've learned along the way about pre-tying your lines on the dock before you leave, so that when you arrive to the beach, your lines are pre-tied. You don't want to be this guy, aka me, who is trying to attach the ropes from the back of the boat all the way to the beach on one of our recent houseboat camping experiences. By having your lines tied from the back of the boat, tied off on the front, when you arrive to the beach, you'll know that if your line is long enough to reach one of the trees that you want to tie to. Another pro tip is to attach a pool noodle to the line, so that when the line falls in the water, the pool noodle will keep it afloat, and you can find it, or anyone else that is helping you can find it as well.
3, 2, 1, action.
The sixth tip that we're going to share with you is probably the most important one, and that's making sure that you have all of your safety equipment on board, like this life preserver ring that we have on the front of our houseboat. The Department of Natural Resources on this lake, and I'm just about sure every lake that you're going to be on or navigable body of water, requires that there be a life jacket for each person on board, and that those life jackets need to be easily accessible in case of an emergency. Another thing that we've shared as well, if you're going to do some houseboat camping and you're going to run a generator, make sure that you have a carbon monoxide detector in every bedroom and every big room where people are going to gather. In case fumes get in there, you can be notified if there's carbon monoxide, which is incredibly dangerous and can be deadly. Another thing that we like to make sure that we always have on board are extra flashlights and batteries. You never know when you're going to need them, and it's always great to have them on hand. Also, if you'd like to learn more in depth about some essential safety items to have on board for your houseboat camping adventure, check out this video right here. Right here, it's going to be somewhere. It's also going to be down in the description below. And if you like this content, if you really enjoy it, and you're looking forward to your next houseboat camping adventure, it'd do us a huge favor if you hit the like button, tap the subscribe button. It lets us know that you're enjoying this content and we can keep creating it for you. We're glad you've made it this far, so here we are at our 7th step to make sure that you have an epic houseboat camping experience. We're going to go more in depth on steps 7 and 8 in our next video, but we're going to give you a little bit of a teaser right now. The 7th step that you need to make sure that you do is that you have enough food and water and drinks on board for everyone for as long as you plan on being out, and that also includes your furry friends that you might be bringing along with you. Your houseboat is going to be your home away from home, and you've spent the time to find the right beach. The last thing that you want to do is have to leave that beach to go back to shore to get more ice, drinks, water, whatever it may be. It doesn't make for a good experience not having planned on the front end. We find it really helpful to plan out how many days you plan to be away from the dock and put together a rough menu of what you think you're going to have for breakfast and lunch and dinner for those days, so that when you go to the grocery store, you have a really good idea of the things that you need to pick up. And also, it's very helpful to plan for an extra day or two. Like we said, we can't control the weather. We might be having a good time. We might have to spend some more time out there. So planning ahead, having a few extra meals can definitely go a long way when you're making sure that you have all the food, ice, water, and necessities on board before you leave the dock. Boats, and especially houseboats, oftentimes have a lot of storage, so it's very good to err on the side of having a little bit extra than not enough. But make sure that you check out where you're going to store things ahead of time. You don't want to get there and realize that there may not be somewhere to put something really valuable that you've just bought. And finally, if you plan on being out for quite an extended period of time, look into getting a Yeti or an Arctic type cooler that can keep ice for days on end, so that you don't have to use valuable freezer space just to store some ice. And this brings us to our 8th and final step to make sure that you have an epic houseboat camping experience, and that's to make sure you bring some fun toys along with you. Some of the things that we always want to make sure that we have are towels, a hat, sunglasses, and some toys for our daughter Claire. We also have a stand-up paddleboard and a fishing kayak. Making sure that you have these can add that little extra something to your trip to really make it next level, so that you're always going to have a great experience with your friends and family and everyone that's out houseboat camping with you. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, so talk to everyone that's going with you beforehand. You might have some people that want to spend some time on some floats, so get some floats or pool noodles. You might have some people, if you're going to be on the beach, that like to play horseshoes or cornhole. That's always great to bring along with you. If you get hot playing cornhole, grab some noodles and go swim off the back of the boat. You're starting to get pruny, dry off, go play some cornhole or horseshoes. You can never have too much fun when you're out there. Oh, and finally, a little pro tip. If you're renting a houseboat, make sure to bring a grill lighter with you because oftentimes those aren't on board. We appreciate everyone joining and sticking around to the end. If you want to see some epic houseboat adventures that we've been on, check out this video right here. If you want to go more in depth on how we provision our boat for going houseboat camping, check out this video right here. Hope everyone's having a great summer and we're really excited and hope to see you guys out on the water.